Oil producers are facing new challenges this year. The ongoing supply glut and limited pipeline capacity have further compressed Canadian crude prices to levels well below the international oil prices. This is costing Canadian producers billions of dollars every year, and analysts expect the losses to continue as far into 2014. Joining us to discuss his outlook on the energy industry in Canada is Roger McKnight. He's Senior Petroleum Analyst at Enpro International. Good to have you with us this morning, Roger.
Good morning.
So we've been talking about this, we've been watching the gap. Give us a sense of sort of where we're at in this and maybe what we're expecting to see over the next month or two.
Okay, let's look at WTI versus the Brent. WTI, the Canadian oil sands are getting it's about a $30 a barrel discount off of WTI. Those using the Brent prices are paying WTI plus about $15 a barrel, which is why you have about 3 or 4 refineries all of a sudden evaporating in the East Coast in the Philadelphia area.
So 30 below WTI. So in other words, WTI right now trading around 106. So right. Canadian companies are getting $30 less than that.
That's right. That's right. And the reason for that is there's nowhere for the stuff to go. This is because of the bottleneck at Cushing, Oklahoma, which is the trading endpoint for the New York Harbor futures price. So there's nowhere for it to go. The Keystone has been politically stopped.
So the hope in the whole story is sort of dampened as well.
That's right. That's right. There's only you can go south to the Gulf, which is what the refiners on the Gulf really want, because they're paying. They're using Louisiana Light Sweet, which is Brent plus about 5, and they have a huge export market, so they're desperate for the Canadian low-priced oil to increase their profit margin, obviously. But there's nowhere for it to go. It's a bottleneck. Now you have the back-end crude oil going into Cushing as well, on Canadian pipelines, by the way, which is really ironic. And the back-end crude is light and sweet, and it commands a better price. It's closer to the major refining markets in the Midwest. So all of a sudden you have the Canadian oil sands, the syn crude, competing against Bakken on the same pipeline, going to the same place.
Now, do you think, it sounds to me like you think that this gap between, first of all, Brent and WTI, and then the gap between WTI and the Canadian price, you think that gap's not going to disappear anytime soon? I've seen lots of analysts say, well, this happens sometimes and eventually it goes away. You don't think so?
This gap, the WTI discount for Canadian, for the oil sands, has been going on for not just in the last month. It's been going on for about a year. The same as the spread between WTI and Brent. It's been the same thing. Question is, what is the real world price of crude? I think it's Brent. I think WTI has gone the way of the dinosaur.
So let's talk about how there's nowhere for it to go from Canada. So how saturated are we talking is the Canadian market at this point?
The pipelines are going to be full by 2014. There'll be no more room on the pipeline. So basically, you're going to have to start withdrawing your production. I see we had another upgrader go down today.
Yeah.
Unplanned maintenance. I love that term.
Well, I was wondering about that. I didn't want to be too suspicious, but what do you think?
There's a lot of unplanned maintenance going on this time of year. This is why gasoline prices habitually spike. It's unplanned maintenance or planned maintenance, switching around for a different type of crude. But what else can I say?
Now, if you think, so if Brent is the real world oil price, then Canadian oil price, Brent's at 126. Canadian oil prices are trading at about a 40% discount to Brent.
Correct. Isn't that just wonderful? If I was a corporate oil sands person right now, I would. This is the International Year of the Metaphor, and I'm going to make one up for you. If I was an oil sands executive, I would be first of all, I'd sort of be filing my nails, saying, this isn't really going to happen. Stage 2 is drumming the fingers, saying, this is getting kind of nerve-wracking. Stage 3 is to start biting your nails. I think we're getting into stage 2, not seriously, but.
What's stage 4? Lobbying actively for more pipelines?
Pass the Tylenol.
Okay. We're going to leave it on that. That's quotable. Roger, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Roger.
It's Roger McKnight, Senior Petroleum Analyst from Enpro International, joining us here in studio.